Okay. First impressions, it fell apart.
Hey guys, and welcome back to part 2 of this thing that's going on. Okay, so in the first video I outlined the history of the dragon hat, what plagiarism is, and why Shein and other companies stealing designs is extremely unethical. If you haven't seen the first video, I would recommend watching it before this video. I will outline some of the same things, but it's nice to know the history. So now for the fun part. I purchased a knockoff from Shein. Now, before you call me a hypocrite, I know I am. I wanted to do this for research purposes. Also, I was curious to know how similar they got it to mine, and I just want to show you how bad the quality is. This is it. It's in here. It is Thursday, May 11th. Today is the day I discovered Shein, actually, I don't care. Shein is producing, or at least selling, copies of my dragon hat. I'm going to buy one for research purposes. I've never been on the website before, and I've never purchased anything from the website, and oh my goodness, it is so overwhelming. Right now, there's a pop-up on my screen that I can't click out of, so I don't even know if I can check out. This hat is $34.60 Canadian. On the American website, it was $23 USD. I don't know when this thing is going to be delivered. I heard they're notoriously super slow for shipping, and if I don't get it, whatever. I thought I would just make a video on it to educate people, and also for my own curiosity. So I ordered the hat from Shein Canada, and 7 days later it came in. 7 days. I assumed Shein was notorious for shipping from China and taking like months and months to get it here. I'm kind of confused on why it only took 7 days. What? It was shipped with Express Post, Canada Post, which is pretty fast, and the return address, I'm not going to show you because my address is on here, the return address is in Markham. If you don't know where Markham is, if you don't know where Markham, Ontario is, lucky you. I'm kidding. So Markham, Ontario is in the GTA. For my non-Canadian watchers, no, that is not Grand Theft Auto. That is the Greater Toronto Area. If you don't know what Toronto is, Drake, downtown Canada, the Raptors, you know. If the return address is from, like, the Shein warehouse in Markham, I can only assume that they're keeping the dragon hat in stock in Canada, which does not make me feel great. Does that mean it's so popular it's in stock in countries that are smaller markets like Canada? I don't like that. Anyways, I guess we should start unboxing it and looking at it. So I'm sorry if the audio is like crappy for this version, bear with me, but this is the very original I did, the silver dragon, and I can show you the similarities when I unpack the other one, but I also wanted to show you I made more! I've been exploring with colors and different techniques, and these guys will be for sale on my website, but I just wanted to show you I'm not a one-trick pony. Well, I am a one-trick pony. So I have 2 camera angles set up. I don't know how well this is gonna go, but we're just gonna go for it. I'm wearing gloves because I don't know. Oh, it's already ripped. Love that. Oh, and there's a receipt on how to return your thing. The receipt looks like an IKEA tag. This is already ripped. Love that. Okay, on the back it says 100% acrylic, made in China. Then has the type of plastic and, oh sweet, a barcode. Oh, love that. So it comes in this plastic baggie. It's heavier. I don't know why. Maybe it's because they're using plastic instead. Oh, great. Oh, okay. Smells like plastic. Alright. First impressions. It's literally falling apart. Okay. First impressions, it fell apart. So this is the world's worst hat. This is like, I don't think I've ever seen a hat in my entire life that is this bad quality, and I'm not just doing that to dunk on Shein. Maybe I'll just like get a close-up here. Look how awful look how awful the interior is. It's not even a hat isn't even lined. It is so light. Oh goodness, it's awful. And so this goes around the hat, I'm assuming, the skin.
Okay, these aren't even sewn together, or it is sewn in one spot. Mine is sewn together like that. So that's pretty crappy. Let me put this back on. So this goes over it like a skin. It's not actually on the hat. Also, the teeth are black. I don't like that. The construction isn't the worst, but it's not good. Oh, the mustache. Yeah, and the mustache is wire. At least you can pose the mustache. Don't know why the nose looks like this. As you can see, thumbnail, there are some quality differences. So this one I'm able to just like smack right on my head. Look at that. Look at that. It's right on my head. It's a solid cap. I could do this. I can pull the horns apart. I could do this. I could hit it against my hand a bunch of times, and it's a solid piece. This you can't do the same to. If you were to treat it the same way, it's just not gonna happen. I know what you're saying, like, be gentle. It's a gentle piece. I'm sorry. I want them to be able to withstand natural wear and just things in general. So I'm gonna put this on my head. If I get lice and die, then I blame you guys. Oh crap, it's too tight. So obvious, like, let's start off with like the obvious things. The horns are just floppy hot dogs. You know, maybe you could sew them in place or something. Actually, why would you be purchasing this? The ears, these are barely even sewn on. I'm surprised these are still on the hat. This doesn't even fit over the brim. It feels like this was made without this in mind. And they were made separately and just slapped together. So let me try to fix this. Also, if you're wearing it like this, I cannot, like, even when you're wearing a hat, yeah, part of your vision is blocked, but I cannot even see, because this thing's dangling. This thing isn't attached to anything. Like, it's dangling, and I gotta push it up, and it doesn't make any sense. It's not nearly as comfortable as this one, obviously because the hat is made out of tissue paper. Like, this is exactly what I expected. I expected it to stink. Yeah, it also smells like plastic. You ever burn plastic with a candle? That's what this smells like. And I know you're saying this one doesn't have whiskers. Well, this is the original. I didn't have whiskers at this point. Anyways, yeah, I said the whiskers are like okay. There's like some things poking out of it, which I assume is wire. My whiskers obviously don't do that, but it's nice that you can pose it. You can pose the ones that I have as well, but it's not nice that they look like shit. Pardon my language. They look like just in general, it's just like awful. The quality is actually atrocious, and you can tell obviously where they got their inspiration from. Where have you seen a hat like this? Nowhere. I created this. I invented this. So you can see they obviously copied the double horns, which theirs look like splitting apart hot dogs. I have the double horns. Then also the three, yeah, there's three here. It's hard to see because it's made in black. The three things, you can see there's three things, the three little scales here. I've talked about this in the last video. It seems to be a reoccurring thing that they just copied the three horns. And in general, it's just not nice. It does not feel good. Maybe I should take the gloves off to actually touch the material. I'm being so dramatic with the gloves. Oh, sue me. Oh, that's awful. I've never felt an acrylic so plasticky in my entire life. And I know wool sometimes can be rough, but like these wonderful ladies back here, I'm using 100% Canadian wool, and the wool is expensive. The cost of wool for one of these hats is the same cost as this hat. Right? The eyes are sloppy, but they're not the worst. It's nice that they included eyelids and copied my design. The eyebrows are just like bunchy in general. It's not a good hat. It is just not well made. It looks like a goofy balloon animal. It's just not it. It is the Shein quality of what I made. It's exactly what I expected. It's exactly what I expected. It sucks. It doesn't even, they didn't even try with this. It's not even like, really, did you even try? Like, Did you even try? Look at that. Look at that clean stitching. I know the inside's kind of dirty. I got paint in it. How clean that is. What the heck is going on here? Like, the obvious difference. The obvious difference. And it's sad to see how many rows, how many stitches are in this, because somebody had to do this by hand. Who the heck is doing this by hand? And like, okay, it's just in general really awful quality. Let's do some side-by-sides. So front.
So if you've been following me for a while, then you know that all the wearables I crochet, I use 100% Canadian wool, and I hand dye it at home myself. I really enjoy it. It's a tedious process, but it's really important. Look at this. I think it adds so much dimension and fun to a piece. Like these two I hand dyed. This one, I think I have like 20 plus colors into that one, which is so fun. This one I tried a different technique, and there's just so much you can do. This one was also hand dyed too, but it's not as fun as these guys. I get my wool from Fleece Artist, and they're a brand based in Halifax, Nova Scotia, and all their wool is regionally sourced, which means maritime sheep. I really like working with the wool because it achieves what I'm going for. I can wash it very aggressively a bunch of times. I can manipulate it, I can felt it, and I can get different textures. Like, look how fluffy this one is. I can just poke myself in the eye. I can do different things with it. I mean, this one, look, I'm just kidding. I can make it all fluffy. There's so much different manipulation things you can do with wool that you just can't achieve with acrylic. I'm not going to get into what's more ethical, the whole wool versus acrylic battle. It is not the conversation I want from this video, and this is not the takeaway I want from the video, is what material is better, blah, blah, blah. Sometimes I use acrylic too, but at the end of the day, use what you want to, and don't shame people online for using a different material. I want the focus to be on there's different levels to a material regardless of what it's made out of. Nicer acrylic yarn will be more expensive than cheaply made acrylic yarn. Nicer wool will cost more than cheaply made wool. Typically, the cheaper you spend, the cheaper quality you will get. For example, I spent $20 on wool for a single hat. Single hat is $20 worth of wool. It's physically like not a lot of yarn, but because I'm opting for a better quality material, it's going to cost me more money. I'm not sure how much that would be in acrylic because I've never made it in acrylic, but I'm sure it wouldn't cost you as much, probably like $10 for like a mid-range acrylic you could get at Michael's. Keep in mind that that is just the yarn. Doesn't include the cost of dye, doesn't include the cost of the hat it's built on. And like there's a big quality difference between a bad baseball cap and a good baseball cap. Ask any dad the difference on hat quality. Also, that doesn't even include the cost of labor it takes to make this. In my last video, I said it would take me approximately 10 hours over the span of 4 days to make one, for the time dyeing it, crocheting it, felting it, letting it dry, sewing it all together. My dragons are made up about 20 pieces, but if I cut corners and made less detail, didn't dye it, didn't wash it, etc., I could probably get it down to 5 hours. 5 hours is still a lot of time. And my guess from this one, minimum 5 hours for this, because they use really small stitches. And there's a lot of pieces too, like big chunky pieces. And instead of like decreasing or like making it to a nice size, they just seem to like make a big piece and then like sew it down instead of making a smaller piece. Again, let's talk about how unethical it is, and I know it's hypocritical that I bought one, but it's for this video. When you think about it, that's really sad they're selling this hat for $23. Well, US $23. For Canadian, I think it's like $34. That means they're using super cheap material and cheap labor. How are they paying someone a living wage to make this? It's simply impossible and extremely sad. It's just not possible they're paying someone. It's ridiculous, it's really sad, and I don't like it. There is no such thing as a crochet machine, so that means every crochet item is done by hand. Every single stitch is done by a human being. Just think about that. There is no way they're being paid a fair wage if this is being sold for $23. I think the part I'm most upset about is that they're exploiting labor while using my design. So I mentioned this in my last video, but it's upsetting because it isn't a classic garment. This isn't pants, this isn't a shirt, this isn't like a simple dress or anything. This is a very specific garment. It is a dragon hat. That's not a common garment. That's not something people need in their everyday wardrobe. It's a piece of art. Not everyone needs this. I'm sorry, but it's a luxury item. It is not an everyday item. It is a hat in the shape of a dragon. Back to talking about how bad Shein is. Let's talk about how notorious they are for stealing designs. I linked an article where there are dozens of designs that they've stolen. Unfortunately, a lot of them are crochet artist and crochet specific designs. They are making garbage clothes so fast they don't even have time to design their own garbage clothes. They need to steal everything. They need to steal from other artists because they don't even have time to design anything. And a lot of the times they're stealing from independent artists and designers like myself who don't have like a bunch of money to go after them. If they're ripping off a big fashion house, then this fashion house has a bunch of money and lawyers to go after them. Me, an individual sitting in my parents' living room, does not have the money to go after them. What's sad about this whole thing is that Shein isn't the only company that's doing this to me. Etsy, Taobao, AliExpress, etc. The list goes on of all the companies that are drop shipping these hats. Unfortunately, the majority of these listings are using my photo with my face, my watermark in the photo. Obviously, without crediting me, they're essentially scamming customers using my photos. There's not much I really want to say about this whole situation, but like, oh well, I think it's important to speak about it and continue talking about it. I know I'm a hypocrite for ordering off of Shein, but it needed to be done. I wanted to see what it was like. I wanted to see the quality, and I wanted to show you the quality. It is not good quality. It is awful. It is... Also, it smells bad. It smells bad. It stinks. I just wanted to keep talking about this. I just wanted to keep having a conversation about this because this is not okay. This is not normal. This should not be normalized. We should not be putting up with companies doing this. And, you know, money talks. Don't order from them if they're ripping off your favorite people online. So many of my friends have been ripped off and their designs have been ripped off on Shein. I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching this video, and thank you so much for all of the support I received on the last video. I honestly didn't even want to post it. I was really nervous about posting it because it felt like a very complainy kind of thing. I don't know, I was overthinking it, but I really appreciate all the support I've received over the situation, and it warms my heart that I have so many people that appreciate my work and want to support me by watching my videos. It really means the world. Thank you so much for watching this. How do I do a heart? I love you guys. Thank you. I get a lot of questions on like buying these. I usually throw them up on Instagram and I say, this is when they will be for sale, and then they'll be for sale on my website at that time. But if you want a commission, you want something specific, you can email me. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, evening, whatever time it is there, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye!